When trying to be a professional athlete, to reach that world title and to claim that gold medal, it is very easy to see an athlete that has put in hard work and trained for hours on end, an athlete that has sacrificed themselves solely to sport at the expense of everything else. But what really makes up that individual? What talents does he or she hold? Are we choosing which athletes we want to see, or are there hidden world champions among us that haven't been fortunate to fall in the right circumstance to reach their potential? When we look at high achievement, we see mental toughness, physicality, strength, coachability. But is there more? Sport has evolved, and now it is a question of who dares to rise to the challenge, or is it who has the money and lives next to an Olympic training facility? When we look at success, it is determined by money, power, and knowledge. So therefore, to be successful, you have to be all of these things. But what if you were born into a family that couldn't support your needs? 3 athletes who helped to break down private school dominance in Olympic sports, Mo Farah, Nicola Adams, but still, privately educated students still dominate Olympic sports and elite sporting events, with GB's top Olympians 4 times more likely to be privately educated than the population. Does this mean we have evolved to buying athletic success? I don't know about you, but when I think about buying sporting success, I think immediately of one of the best sporting schools in the country, which is coincidentally right on our doorstep. Millfield School is a sporting powerhouse, creating athletes such as Chris Robshaw and Pamela Cookie. But is it unfair of me to suggest that their sporting success was down to the £350,000 they paid for their education? Can athletes really be successful without an ever-ending, bottomless pocket full of cash? For example, Mo Farah runs, and that requires really little resources and isn't very expensive. Therefore, a lot of African people run because it's very cheap. Obviously, money is a key component of success, but is it possible for those with less resources to achieve this? At Millfield School, over 50 alumni achieve international selection each year, whereas one of our local non-fee-paying sports colleges can only boast county championship winners and district cup runners-up. In the area of Somerset, it is clear that money can buy sporting success. In 2007, I was given my first hockey stick, and I played in my car park at my last school in Shropshire. For some reason, I was obsessed with roller skates, and I would skate around the car park desperately trying to play hockey at the same time, also trying to convince my parents to come join me. Not only was this a major health and safety risk, as I spent most of the time being picked off the floor by my parents. I soon grew out of the roller skating phase, but I still loved to play hockey. But my training developed into more than just a hobby to more of a lifestyle. When I moved to Taunton in 2009, I joined a hockey club, and I started to train more and more. My parents, as much as they said they loved it, I'm not sure they really enjoyed the 6:30 morning starts driving me to competition Saturdays and Sundays and picking me up from training every evening, but they still did it. And not everybody is in that situation and is fortunate to have parental support. If you are an athlete who hasn't got that parental support, does that mean you won't be successful? I put in a lot of dedication to be where I am at the moment, and I'm still trying so hard to be better than I am now. But my parents gave so much to me to play sport, but some people don't have that. What if sporting success was a level playing field? In the 2015 FIFA Women's World Cup, it was a broadcasting phenomenon. 1 in 12 Americans watched the game, and Carly Lloyd scored a hat-trick in the 13th minute. But was the difference between first and second place, did it come down to the fact that each player that competed in the winning team was wearing performance tracking devices? These performance tracking devices allowed the managers and coaches to see when a player was reaching their exhaustion peak. They could tell if there was anything wrong with them, if they were struggling, and they would be pulled off the pitch immediately for substitution before they could make a detrimental decision that could harm the team's performance. Back in the day, when you look at football matches, managers and coaches just hauled off their players and they looked like they were about to collapse. But does that mean that footballers back then are not as good as they are now? Technology within sport masks a huge shift in the way sport is perceived and how we as humans perceive sport. It is clear that sports science advances have changed the way the game is played. It is clear we cannot compare sport to the past, because we as humans have evolved, not only mentally, but physically. And sports scientists have changed the way sport is perceived in the media and the entire world. In the Rio 2016 Olympics, which was an Olympics fueled by controversy, Mo Farah, Nicola Adams and Usain Bolt all medal winners. Usain Bolt got his third consecutive gold medal in the 100-metre sprint. He was then given the title of the world's fastest athlete. Was it because he had the so-called magic sprinting gene? This magic sprinting gene is also known as fast twitch muscle fibres, which 75% of all Jamaicans are born with. So, because Usain Bolt was born on Jamaican soil and grew up on Jamaican soil, does that mean he was predisposed to being a fast athlete? Is there more to Usain Bolt than meets the eye? He is a very tall athlete, and when sports scientists break down his composition, it doesn't seem natural that he should be so fast. But, however, he is unquestionably himself and hasn't made changes to his body to enable his success. So does this give him an unfair advantage over his competitors? Does his height make him better? Or does his perfect muscle fibres give him the edge? You may wonder why I am questioning Usain Bolt. And that is because last week, Caster Semenya lost her battle against a law made that women have to have their testosterone levels dropped if they are too high. It is sad that sport has come down to changing people's natural body types because people can't face losing. Caster Semenya has worked tirelessly to get PBs, and we have watched her smash records and win races. She is a black African woman being forced to suppress her body type because other people can't face losing. Whereas Michael Phelps, the man who was born to swim, his extraordinary body type was developed so that he was an amazing swimmer. He was like a fish, as so many article headlines said. His body type produced 50% less lactic acid than anybody else. So that meant he was the best at his competition. But competition labelled him as a hero, but Caster Semenya as a freak. Nobody would argue against the level playing field for athletic competition in any sport. But has the time come that the evolution of specialism and excellence in sporting endeavour is preventing fair competition rather than encouraging it? As athletic success becomes younger and younger, how far away are we from seeing an 8-year-old winning the Olympic gymnastics floor routine? With the hotly debated topic of gender fluidity, will we see the first transgender games in our lifetime? Will we see a basketball team for only people who are tall enough? Will Usain Bolt be subjected to sprinting in the tall sprinting category and people who are more vertically challenged in another? Will we see the first independent school games or an Olympics subjected to racial characteristics and traits? To me, this seems very dangerous and to many politically unacceptable. But I'm sure these same thoughts were raised when women were first allowed to compete in the Olympics in the 1900s, or when Viv Anderson, the first black footballer that played for England. Maybe the evolution of sporting excellence I've portrayed in this talk isn't so far-fetched at all.